Hey, what's going on? Quis here from Sports Vibes TV. And in this video, I just want to talk about an article I stumbled upon. Now, in this article, it's a trade between the Hawks and the Knicks potentially. And what I liked is this trade isn't what I've seen elsewhere, where the Knicks are going to mortgage everything to try to bring in either a big name or an older aging player in order to try to make a last ditch effort. I keep trying to say I would prefer smaller moves where we do get young players that can both help us this season and into the future. And what I like about this trade that I found is it does exactly that. It really doesn't sacrifice too much when it comes to our assets, and it still brings in a player that can build with this team for the future as well as contribute now. And I think he'd be a solid piece for a Tom Thibodeau. So before I get into it, let's jump it over right into the actual article. Now, as you can see, this is a fan-sided article, soaring down south. And what I like about this article is this is an article from the Atlanta Hawks fan perspective. So if I were to come on this channel and try to say this trade would go through, some of you guys might say I'm crazy, I'm being biased, but this is coming from an Atlanta Hawks fan's perspective. So, if they'll think it'll get done, hey, I'll be fine with it. So in the trade, the big pieces of the trade are Kevin Knox and Cam Reddish. Now, Kevin Knox is a player that's starting to get a little bit more minutes. We saw in that last game last night against the Pacers, Taj Gibson went down and Kevin Knox came in and he had a few minutes at the 4. I think he didn't do much at the 4, but while he was on the court, I think the team was like a +8. So Knox is not a major piece in the rotation now, but it seems like there could be the opportunity for him to get an increased role due to injuries. But if we were to trade a Kevin Knox for Cam Reddish, that is a deal I'd be fine with. Cam Reddish is a player that is a wing, an upgrade to a Reggie Bullock, I believe. He can both play defense and he can shoot. I mean, he has not been able to find the range this season that great, but he's shown that he can be a knockdown shooter. And also, Cam Reddish has some familiarity with RJ Barrett. They both played at Duke for that 1 year, even though they didn't go as far as most hoped, most expected. They still have some chemistry. You can even see when they go against each other, there's somewhat of a little rivalry going on. And Cam Reddish has the size to play the 3, and he is a player that can play defense like Tibbs wants. And like I said, he can knock down a corner 3, catch and shoot. He can pull up. He can knock down threes in a various amount of situations. So I like Cam Reddish on this team, especially when we have a big hole at 3, both this year and moving forward, because I don't believe Reggie Bullock is going to be re-signed at the end of this season. So to me, this would be a great deal. And then also, they give you other trade scenarios. So this one, we would trade Kevin Knox, Austin Rivers, and in return, we get Cam Reddish and Rajon Rondo. Do we really need Rajon Rondo? Not really, now that we have Derrick Rose. But if you think we need an additional guard off the bench or just some insurance, God forbid there's some kind of injury, you have Rajon Rondo. And Austin Rivers is honestly doing nothing right now for us. He's just at the end of the bench. So I would be cool with this trade too, unless Rajon Rondo starts to cut into Emmanuel Quickley's time, which I don't think would be an issue, because with Emmanuel Quickley, that instant offense, that the threat of an instant offense, I think is too great to really choose Rajon Rondo over an Emmanuel Quickley. But we could see some sets where we have Rajon Rondo at the 1, Emmanuel Quickley off ball. I think Rajon Rondo would be great for Obi. That's probably the player that would benefit most from a Rajon Rondo acquisition, either Obi or Mitch when he comes back healthy. So that's another option there. And then here's a third option. This one is intriguing because we're adding Nerlens Noel to the deal, right? We're adding Nerlens Noel, and then we're also adding Onyeka Okongwu. I think I said it correctly. And he was the 6th overall pick for the Hawks. He's like a power forward, I think they say he's more so of a tweener when it comes to his size. He's not big enough to play center, but he's still a little slower foot for a power forward, not really able to shoot like that. So that is another option where we're getting two young players. Cam Reddish is just in the middle of his second season, and Onyeka Onkungu is in his first season. So I would like this deal as well. I was reading it and I'm like, you might be a little hesitant to include Nerlens Noel in the deal, but you got to remember Nerlens Noel is on a 1-year contract. Like if you really like Nerlens Noel that much, you could trade and then just re-sign him for a lower amount or the same amount that he's getting paid this year. I don't think Nerlens Noel has shown enough on the offensive side to really warrant large contracts. So this is another deal I would be willing to do, open to do. Cam Reddish, like I said, slots right in at the 3 for us. Rajon Rondo would be a perfect backup point guard if you want to move Emmanuel quickly over to the 2. And Rajon Rondo would be great in that second unit with an OB and sometimes when he overlaps with Mitch. And the same thing with Okongwu. So to me, this would be a great trade. For me to see this from a Hawks fan, I was like, dang, they really must not be sold on Okongwu because you're not really getting much for their 6th overall pick. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But this video was just to kind of pique your interest and have you tell me what you thought or what you think about a potential Knox for Reddish swap. Let me know down in the comments. Once again, I'm Quis, host of Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.
Stress.